Eldrazi, pretty stock list here. One thing you got to watch out for, he also has a main deck copy of Worship, which could steal something.
You cannot Vapor Snag Worship.
And we are underway. So it'll start with Spire, Bluff, Canal from Jeff. Monastery, Swift Spear will swing and put William down to 19. For William, his first play is actually Eldrazi Temple. That is one of the scarier starts that this deck can produce.
Potentially looking at a turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer here. And in this matchup, there's a lot of pressure on Jeff to draw Storm Chaser Mage and Mantis Rider to be able to fly over. Or if he draws his ground creatures to show up with some Vapor Snags to slow Bill down.
So Gitaxian Probe is the play from Hoogland. He'll see the 7 from Buehler. It is another Temple, a Forest, a Windswept Heath, so 3 more lands. Ancient Stirrings, there's the turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer. He's got it. Engineer Explosives. Oh, yeah, and that main deck Worship is in his hand.
This is going to be pretty tough for Jeff to overcome. Theoretically, some Vapor Snags can get him through this Thought-Knot Seer. It's not ideal. It will be picking apart Jeff's hands. But if Bill's just able to get on the table with a Worship and a creature, Jeff runs out of removal spells. That's all.
To go for this turn 2 Thought-Knot, William gave up a lot of turn 1 interaction. He did have, you see that copy of Ancient Stirrings. He'll use it later at some point, along with that Engineered Explosives.
And Buehler, actually a Wisconsin player, I believe that he's out of the Eau Claire area. I know I see him playing at the store in there quite a lot.
For Hoogland. Now that he sees the hand, he'll go, he has picked out a line. It's going to be Arid Mesa, getting a different land. For Steam Vents, so double blue-red. Has not opened up the door to his white cards just yet.
And it takes at least until turn 3 where he wants to cast white cards. It's really Mantis Rider and Lightning Helix. You know, there's nothing to Helix just yet. And the deck does play some number of Seachrome Coast. There's 2 of them in the deck, so that's his 3rd land. This looks great for Jeff.
Serum Visions is the play. He drew a Mantis Rider, it looks like, off the Visions. Scry's 1 top, 1 bottom. Swing, this is going to be for 3. Gitaxian Probe and Serum Visions, both available. And for Buehler, double Temple Thought-Knots, pretty, just as he drew it up. And with the trigger on, Jeff is going to Vapor Snag it. So that means Jeff draws a card, and then William gets to take something off his hand.
Gitaxian Probe, the card that Jeff left on top, that'll be able to facilitate a very aggressive play pattern from Jeff here. He does have the Seachrome Coast and the Mantis Rider, in addition to Mutagenic Growth, Snapcaster Mage.
So Jeff's hand is Probe, Snapcaster Mage, Mutagenic Growth, Mantis Rider, and then 2 land. And then a land, a Seachrome Coast. Snapcaster Mage will be exiled. I like that from William. That represented another Vapor Snag.
Yep. Jeff, he still has access to the Growth, the Probe, whatever. The big threat for the Buehler's hand here is Vapor Snag that can keep him off of Thought-Knot Seer and Worship.
Well, Worship looks like the card that Jeff has to beat. He has, with these 2 Mantis Riders, he has a lot of damage.
Yes.
It looks like not 2, sorry, Mantis Rider Storm Chaser Mage was the draw for the turn.
And being on the play here is a huge boon to Jeff. He's able to come out of the gates very quickly and potentially get ahead of Worship where he might not have been able to do that on the draw.
He casts Gitaxian Probe. You see William's hand. 2 lands, Stirrings, Explosives, Path, Worship, Thought-Knot Seer. A lot of great stuff for William. Jeff draws Twisted Image.
If you're Buehler, you kind of wish that Jeff had a heavy Swift Spear, no Gitaxian Probe hand, so you can get some value out of that Explosives.
Just play it and blow it up right now.
Yeah, he has a couple removal spells, though. He won't be able to really 2-spell on them just yet because he has 2 colorless lands. Needs colored mana for the Path and the Explosives.
So some sequencing here from Jeff. It looks like his Twisted Image changed his mind. He's now going to play Storm Chaser Mage and Twisted Image.
This is a combo.
Yeah, by doing it in this order, he lost 1 point of prowess, but he didn't know. He drew the Twisted Image, and then he'll draw. So it looks like we have a prowess. The Swift Spear will be prowessed up to a 3-power creature. The Storm Chaser Mage will be 4. So this looks to be an attack for 7.
And 2 copies of Twisted Image in Jeff's deck. This is not necessarily stock. Of course, this is a relatively new modern deck. This is the first time I've seen Image in the deck. Great with Storm Chaser Mage. You turn your 1/3 into a 3/1, or rather a 4/2 at the end of all of that. And it's just a great thing to deal with Spellskite, which can soak up your burn spells. Good against Infect, because you can hit Noble Hierarch, draw a card. I like this call a lot.
So Buehler will take, if he takes the 7, he goes to 8. The Thought-Knot Seer may not be enough, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, well, he cannot block Storm Chaser Mage. He cannot block the Mantis Rider that's looming in Jeff's hand.
So William will untap and draw at 8 life. He has Path to Exile in hand. So I guess he does have the line of Thought-Knot plus Path, which is pretty good.
Yes, and he picked up Drowner of Hope. So he just needs to survive one more turn to be able to cast that spell, and that is significant.
So Thought-Knot, he sees another Swift Spear, a Mantis Rider, and a Mutagenic Growth.
The Swift Spear is very non-threatening to Buehler. It takes Swift Spear plus Growth. That can run over the Thought-Knot Seer, but he has Engineered Explosives. He just needs to survive long enough to set that up.
There's 1 basic Plains in William's deck. He can go get that. So he took a copy of Mantis Rider, but there's a Lightning Helix as the draw for Hoogland. He'll play Swift Spear. Swing everything. If he goes upstairs with the Helix... Oh, he's still going to be short. It's very close, though.
Yeah, so...
He's got Mutagenic...
Buehler knows about the growth, so he's just going to save the Path for whatever would get growth on this turn. So he's going to block one of the Swift Spears, I imagine, leave up Path. Jeff could very well just go for the Helix here. Not a huge incentive not to. Or Buehler elects not to block.
William no blocked, and Jeff got him there.
He was hoping...
wow, hold on.
He knew about the growth, right?
So that is 1, 2, it's 3 prowess. So the growth represents 5 more damage. 3 triggers and +2/+2.
That's 8.
That was 8. I think what happened is William said, okay, he'll go for the growth. I'll path something. I'll be fine. But that doesn't play around any top decks.
Didn't cover Lightning Bolt or Helix. Covered Mutagenic Growth with the Path to Exile. But
that's so rough because, and I think it's a misstep here from Buehler, well, obviously, but if he has, all he needs to do is survive until next turn and cast that Worship.
The thing about the block, though, is if he just growths the Swift Spear that you block, you just path that Swift Spear.
Well, if he growths the Swift Spear that you block, yeah, it would become a 4/5.
Yeah, you can just path that one. You're not facing lethal because of the growth anymore.
No, it is. He's still dead because he fetches down to 7 to path, right? Then Jeff throws the Lightning Helix upstairs.
No, the Lightning. I'm saying based off of the information that he knew.
Okay, yeah. The Helix. So he's dead to the Helix no matter what.
That top deck might have just been perfect for Jeff.
I think, yeah. Even if he does block, and Jeff growths the Swift Spear that was blocked.
Yeah, he gets in for 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's dead both ways.
Right.
An impressive showing. So Jeff on the play beats turn 2 Thought-Knot into turn 3 Thought-Knot Path. That's like the best trick that Banteldrazi has in their deck.
And again, it might have been a different game with Buehler on the play, but maybe not. He didn't exactly get in for any points of damage that Jeff didn't inflict to himself.
This stuff really impressive here. Okay, let's look at the Jeskai aggro deck. We'll start the sideboard, I guess, of William Buehler, okay, because he had a great draw. Turn 2 Thought-Knots don't generally lose in this format.
It's a really good start.
He's got a lot of things for the matchup. We see 2 Blessed Alliance, a Kataki War's Wage, 2 Rest in Peace, a Stony Silence, a second Worship, 2 Stubborn Denial, 2 Dromoka's Commands, 2 Engineered Explosives, and 2 Grafdigger's Cage.
Cards that I really like, the 2 Blessed Alliance, the 2 Engineered Explosives. The 2 Stubborn Denials are okay. You're really not trying to fight over the spells. You just want to deal with the creatures, and I don't like Worship against these tempo decks.
No, that game was horrible.
Jeff, if you're familiar with this deck, you know it's a 4 Vapor Snag deck. Jeff showed you one, and you know he's a Snapcaster Mage deck. So it's fairly easy for him to get around Worship. I think that is not the strategy I would employ here. Really just looking at Alliance and Explosives.
Yeah, how do you feel about Dromoka's Command, maybe? It prevents damage from a burn spell and could... I don't know, maybe fight a creature.
Preventing the damage from the burn spell is significant. I don't think it's really the plan that we're on. I think it has a lot of the same issues that Worship has, where it's at its best, where you already control the creature. And you just have to stop Jeff from killing you more than anything. I think Dromoka's Command is something where if you're expecting kind of parity on the board, you're not expecting that here. So I'm not in love with Dromoka's Command. Over on Jeff's side, we see 2 Blessed Alliance, 2 Deflecting Palm, a Dispel, 2 Path to Exile, 2 Spell Pierce, 3 Surgical Extraction, a Vendilion Click, 2 Wear Tear. Big finds here, the 2 Path to Exile. Just keep Buehler off of having any creatures. There's some argument for Blessed Alliance just because Buehler has larger creatures. I don't like it. It's more of a reactive spell. I would not go that route. You could bring in Wear Tear because of Worship.
I was going to ask about that.
You could also potentially catch an Explosives if Bill just runs one out and
Which he
can't
probably
pop it
has
that
to,
turn.
right?
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of time in this matchup. And I like the Vendilion Click, actually.
So one thing you're noticing, players are going to get ready for mulligan decisions here. Over at SCGMKE.com, we have our creature collection. These are, of course, our own art available on playmats, sleeves, and in other player bundles. We have the Hedgehog-a-Hog. That's the parody of a Tog-a-Tog, of course. This is our current game night pin and tokens. You can get that at game night, or you can just order them on playmats and sleeves over at the store online. We also have just our creature collection of the ferret. These ones are just adorable, especially if you love ferrets. We got 2 of them playing. They're wearing clothes. One of them's got a tie. It's pretty great. All that over on StarCityGames.com. We are underway, though, for game number 2. Buehler starts off on Temple Garden, Ancient Stirrings, and finds an Eldrazi Temple.
Pretty good start. Not quite turn to Thought-Knot Seer, but could at least be an Eldrazi Displacer.
Yep, playing those. Matter Reshaper as well.
I think Reshaper is kind of just a card that you have to play.
I mean,
you'd rather have Displacer.
Yeah, it's when you have these Eldrazi Temples, you really got to play a lot of cards with the type Eldrazi.
Yeah, there's no way around that.
And Reshaper is one of the better ones. It's not great.
I think that Matter Reshaper for a Magic card, it would have an extensive resume, right? Its first job was as a flag bearer. It has a typeline Eldrazi. I guess that was its actual first job. It's a combat trick. It's a blink effect. It would be several pages. It would be hard to condense the resume of Eldrazi Displacer.
Turn 1, Serum Visions for Hoogland. So first creature will be Buehler's. It is Eldrazi Displacer. So
got him.
This is why I like this. Displacer was printed as a utility creature, but with the help of Eldrazi Temple, yeah, it's a 3/3 for 2. It's just a beater.
Watch Wolf.
Yeah, and it does more. Another land. Here's a swing from Buehler. Jeff actually no creatures just yet. His deck taking on a very different flavor.
Yeah, evidently no Lightning Helixes either, as he just takes some damage.
William will pass. Looks like end step Jeff's going to Vapor Snag the Displacer into William's hand. No plays that turn from Buehler. So for Hoogland, it is Sacred Foundry and now Mantis Rider. He's going to hit back. Will William respond? Maybe. We'll see here. A crack of Windswept Heath. It looks like Williams took the damage. He's fetching on end step.
Everyone's just trading blows here.
I like that if you're Jeff.
I like it less if you're Buehler.
Yeah.
Jeff has a little bit of life to play with in this matchup. If his proactive plan is a lot faster with all these haste creatures compared to Bill's. When Bill's taking hits on the chin, his life total matters a lot more. Jeff's 4 Bolts, 4 Helix, 4 Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen a Path to Exile there from William. Obviously does not have one. He's got a grip that's long on lands right now. Plays Cavern of Souls. That's going to name Eldrazi. Now can replay the Displacer. But with only 2 mana up, he still can't activate it. He's looking to take a lot of damage.
If he didn't have Path before, odds are he still doesn't have it.
Twisted Image, second Mantis Rider, both available from Hoogland. He's got a Snapcaster Mage and another Vapor Snag in hand. This is just... You've got to be liking this, huh? This is
It is wild that you can cast second Mantis Rider and it's not convincingly the best play. You had to think about it. This deck's awesome.
So William down to 7 on that hit. He does draw Dramoka's Command. That's actually a very good card right here.
Yeah, able to prevent a burn spell. He's at a precariously low life total. He can also fight one of these Mantis Rider downs, which I think that +1/+1 fight may be the option that we go for.
He just has to, doesn't he?
He has enough mana to blink the other Mantis Rider on the following turn.
Right. The thing I'm worried about is William does not have life gain, and I think between all these Vapor Snags and Snapcasters, Jeff's going to chip shot him out from 7.
He has sideboard Blessed Alliance, which would be a big pickup from this point forward in the game. Ugh.
And that could be a game ender. William goes for Dromoka's command to have the creatures 1/1 counter and fight, but Jeff mutagenic growths his Mantis Rider. Yeah, the 5/5 wins the fight, and that will be the game as well. Jeff Hoogland, a convincing 2-0 victory.
So I talked a lot about how this deck is really resilient to Lightning Bolt. I guess
How
that,
about Dromoka's
that
command?
all
Jeez.
applies to Dromoka's command. If he had a Thought-Knot Seer, he could have won that fight. He could have tied that fight.
Tied the,
He could have
and
tied
then Jeff
that.
draws a card. Ugh. That's not even good.